Welcome, friends, to the second session of the first day of our 3-day workshop for meditation. Are you all able to hear me clearly, right to the end? Those who can hear me, please raise your hands. Those who cannot hear me, please raise your hands. It doesn't matter. Well, now comes the real part of this meditation workshop for which we assembled here. How many of you have come here for the first time? Please raise your hands. Okay. Since you have come for the first time, I do a couple of preliminary exercises that we do in preparation for meditation. The first exercise, those who have already done it can do it again, join again. It's a fun exercise. First one is called the orange juice experiment. The purpose of that exercise is to show you the power of attention and the power that you have through imagination to put your attention anywhere in the body that you like, which then we will use in meditation to put the attention behind the eyes. That's the purpose of this first exercise. In this exercise, we imagine that this body of ours is made of glass and is empty and hollow inside, and we can fill it up with orange juice. So we take our own body as a hollow glass flask made of this same shape as our body and fill it up imaginatively from our feet to the head with orange juice, leaving no space unfilled. The hands and the feet and the legs and the torso and the head right up to the top should be all filled up with orange juice. After that is done, then we make use of certain valves in the fingers of the hands. When you press those valves, thank you. That gives me a fresh start. When you press the fingers of your hands, then the orange juice flows out from your fingers. If you press hard, it flows faster. If you press gently, drop by drop, the orange juice flows out. Similarly, you have these valves in the toes of your feet. When you press the toes against the ground, then the juice goes out slowly. And what happens because of this is that the level of the juice in the body starts dropping. As the juice becomes less and less in the body, it drops. I will give you directions during the exercise when to press the hands, when to press the toes, and when to stop, so that you can examine at what level the orange juice has come. So let's now sit straight. You can't move during this exercise because you are all made of glass and it can crack. So you have to be very careful. Only the valves have some capacity to move in your fingers and your toes, and no other part of the body can move. So be very still and close your eyes. Imagine that you are made of glass and fill it up imaginatively with orange juice from the feet right up to the head, leaving no space empty. How many of you could successfully do this? Very good. How many of you enjoyed this exercise? Very good. We should be doing an orange juice meditation then. The purpose of this exercise was, you saw that as I called out different levels, you were able to hold the orange juice there, which means your attention could move within the body anywhere you liked. That is the whole method of meditation, to be able to put your attention wherever you like. Now, in actual meditation, we will not go through all these areas, though some meditational techniques involving the 6 centers of energy, the 6 chakras, which are lying below the eyes, are practiced by people. I have done that practice too, in which we put our attention on the very lower centers, starting from the bottom, from the rectum, then the genitals, then the navel, then the heart, the throat, and then the eyes. These 6 centers are centers of energy, and all our energetic experiences, including the maintenance of this body, the maintenance of our systems operating through the body are all being controlled from these 6 centers of energy. And putting our attention on these 6 centers generates different experiences, different out-of-body experiences, sometimes experiences of an external nature which is different from what we normally see. They're very interesting experiences, but none of them lead to any higher awareness of yourself. These are energy centers below the eyes. There are similar centers of awareness where you have higher knowledge of yourself, higher awareness of who you are. Those do not go below the eyes. Those lie behind the eyes and go straight back and then go up. In the short space of this little forehead, in this short space, there are 12 centers of that kind. And when you want to gain spiritual knowledge of yourself, then we use this area only, above the eyes, behind the eyes and above the eyes. We do not use the areas below, which are concerned with energy and not with awareness. There's a big distinction, there's a big dividing line in our body. The body is divided into 2 parts. The energetic side, which controls all energies, and the awareness side, which is controlled in the head and from eyes above. So in good meditation for spiritual knowledge, for spiritual awareness, we use the area behind the eyes and above the eyes and not go below. We did this exercise to show you that you can put your attention anywhere you like in the body. And when we will start meditation, you will be able to see that. The second exercise I'm going to do, which is also routine for me to do in these meditation workshops, is to demonstrate that these sense perceptions that we think are built into this physical body are actually not built into the physical body. They are built, embedded in the physical body and operate through physical organs, but they are also working independently. For example, we say we can see through these eyes, but we can also see in dreams in which these eyes don't work at all. We say we only see because the eyes have the retina and the optic nerve and therefore we see. But we can imagine lots of things and visualize them without using the retina or using the optic nerve or using the optic center of the brain, which means seeing is different from vision of the eyes. But if seeing were not there, vision of the eyes won't work. Supposing we become unconscious of the vision, eyes are still the same. You can be withdrawing attention from the eyes don't see. And yet all the equipment which we say is responsible for seeing in the physical body is still there. Therefore, seeing is coming from somewhere else and it is embedded, that power of seeing is embedded in the body. So when we look at this world, it looks like we are seeing only with these eyes. But we can see with inner eyes also. Why I am bringing up this point? Because we will have so many visual experiences during meditation, and they are not dependent upon these eyes at all. Similarly, the power of hearing is not confined to these ears. We can hear several sounds inside us, and we will hear a lot of sounds inside us during meditation, which have nothing to do with the eardrum or with the whole system that's around this physical ear. So therefore, the power of hearing, power of touching, tasting, smelling, they are all independent of this physical body. But since they are embedded in this physical body, we assume that they are coming from the organs of this physical body. Now, this exercise I'm going to do is merely to bring to our notice, to bring to our awareness that these sense perceptions are not confined to physical organs, but they are independently part of an inner part of awareness, which we call the sensory system or sensory body or astral body. So that is the purpose of this next exercise. In this exercise, you will again close your eyes and imagine that this body of yours is a house in which you live. Just like the 6 levels I described earlier, it has 6 floors. And you are now sitting in the 6th floor of this house, behind the eyes. You take a comfortable chair there, imaginative chair, of course. You imagine that you're sitting on a chair behind the eyes. Next to you is a little table, like this one. And on the table, there is a a vase with flowers like you see here, not necessarily these flowers, flowers of your imagination, which you like. You imagine the flowers there. You imagine there's a drink there, water or some other drink, and you imagine there's a plate of snacks sitting there, your favorite snacks. This is the imaginary part that you have to do. Then I will give you instructions what to do with that. And therefore, now close your eyes. Imagine that this body of yours is a house. You are living in it on the 6th floor. There's a nice floor behind the eyes on which you can have a chair, a cushion, a mat, and sit on that chair in the center. And imagine that next to you is a small table, and these three things, the flowers and the drink and the snack, are on that table on your right side. You can look at your table and see that all these three things are there. You can see the flowers there. You can see the drink there in a cup or a glass. You can see your snack plate there. Now look in front. Now look to the right, pick up your flowers in your hand and bring them in front of you. Look at the shape of the flowers. Have you seen these flowers before? Look at the flowers carefully. Look at the color of the flowers. Are the colors changing? Have you seen these flowers before? Turn the flowers around. Do they look the same? Bring these flowers close to your nose and see if there's any fragrance, any smell. Have you had this smell before? Do you recall this fragrance before? When did you last have this fragrance? Was it from flowers or some other source? Now put the flowers back on the table. Now pick up the drink and bring it in front of you. See what it looks like. Bring it to your lips and have a sip. What does it taste like? Do you recall this taste? Is it your favorite drink? Have another sip. Does it still taste the same? Now put it back on the table. Put the drink back on the table. Now pick up your favorite snacks plate. Look at the snacks. Are these your favorites? Take a bite. How does it taste? Is the same taste you had before? Take another bite. Do you remember this taste? Put the snacks back on the table. Keep your eyes closed till I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. Welcome back. You might notice that every time I say open your eyes, I count 5 to give time to get back into this mode, physical body mode. And in longer duration meditations, you will find that you withdraw your attention from the body into these experiences, and to get back quickly into this, it's always nice to rub the face little, rub your hands and your knees and feet, and you quickly are back here. So that's the reason why you notice that I do it just routinely, and you can do it, it'll be useful, especially in long sessions of regular meditation. How many of you could do this exercise of the sense perceptions? How many of you could see the flowers? How many of you saw new flowers that you never seen before? Wow, very good. How many of you saw the color of the flower change while you were watching? Very good. How many of you were able to smell the flowers? How many of you had a new feeling that this was a new fragrance? Good. How many of you could taste the drink? How many of you had a new taste of a new drink? Very good. How many of you enjoyed the snack? That's most popular, I think. And how many of you found it was a new snack you never had before? Very good. So some of you say that you had experiences which you never had before. How could you have that? You were not trying to have a new experience, you were trying to recall. You were trying to remember things. Normally, our memory, our system by which the memory recalls these events is purely from an earlier physical experience, sensory experience. How come you are having some experiences which do not exist in your earlier experiences? And you did not want them. How many of you got an experience doing this exercise you didn't even expect? There's so many of you. So obviously, there is some area in our awareness which has stored information or which has a potential for knowledge which is not based upon the experiences we have had with the senses outside. The truth is that there's a huge world existing within us. A huge world, much vaster than the world we are seeing outside. And we have experiences there. And when we do an exercise like that, by trying to put attention inside ourselves, those experiences come back to us. And some of the experiences are definitely from another place, not from here. A place similar to this. That's why we could say flowers and drinks and snacks. But there will be experiences for which there is no equivalent word at all. Experiences sitting inside us which have no equivalence at all in this world. And there's no way that anybody can imagine them, but they come during meditation. So the purpose of this exercise was to show you that these perceptions which we think are arising from the body do not arise from the body. How many of you still have the taste of the snack in your mouth? There you go, you see. So there was no snack, there was no flower, and there were no physical drinks. And many of you enjoyed this party with me, this feast with me. The reason why I did this exercise was that we are capable of having those experiences. They lie inside us, and you will get them during meditation. They should not surprise you because they are your experiences. Nobody is putting them into your head. Nobody else is responsible for that. It's your experience within your own self. And they are lying at a different level of consciousness, an awakened consciousness. In this exercise, very simple exercise, all you did was to put your attention on what I was saying, to put your attention on looking at what is happening, putting your attention on sitting inside the head and having a table beside you was causing all these experiences. Now don't forget, if you can do that, if you can hold yourself in the head, in the center, sitting there imaginatively and forgetting everything else, you can achieve every success in spiritual path on all levels. That's the opening door. That's the door that opens into all experiences. The door that will open into all spiritual experiences opens right behind the eyes at the center of the head. All we need is to put our attention there and exclude the scattered attention from other things. That's the whole purpose of meditation, to be able to go within our own self, withdraw attention to our own self. I didn't even tell you where you are. You were where you were. You are automatically there. When we close our eyes, we are automatically where our consciousness is in this body. We didn't have to work out and figure where am I or make an image of yourself. A common mistake, very common mistake that we make in meditation is that when we say put your attention behind the eyes and feel you are there, we make a little image of ourselves and put that there and say, there I am seeing myself sitting there. How could that be you if you can look at it? You are the one looking at it. Therefore, you are always behind that. Whenever we make a little image of ourselves sitting in the head, we are looking at the image outside of this physical body. I have checked so many times with people that when you close your eyes and you feel that you are sitting right there and you actually start seeing yourself sitting there, you are not inside the head at all. That little figure you make is being made imaginatively right outside, and because you close your eyes, it looks the darkness is inside. And then you concentrate on that, you don't have any withdrawal of attention at all. People have been doing it for years with no success. What you have to remember is you are sitting there. You are not looking at something, you are there. You are inside the head. You are the small figure or the big figure. Size there has no relevance, because the moment you put yourself in the center of the head expands to a whole universe. The head expands to a big room, a meditation room. It can expand to a big garden. It can expand to the whole world. This head is only a physical covering upon us. It does not cover our awareness. So when we put ourselves behind the eyes, that is primary purpose of meditation, to put yourself behind the eyes and experience what is going on there. Let's now start. Let's start the meditational process by doing step number 1 properly, correctly. That is, closing your eyes, still imagining this is merely a house, a vehicle in which we are sitting. It's not a self. The body is not our self. We are sitting in this body, in the head, behind the eyes. And from there, we can look with the inner eyes. We can look, the eyes are in front of us. The ears are on either side of us. The hair on the head is on top of us. The throat is below us. The nose is right in front and below us. The whole body is felt like it is around us at different places, and we are at the level of the eyes behind, sitting in the middle of the head. Let's do it. Close your eyes and try to be at that spot. Check out what's going on in the head. Check out, look right, look left, look at your ears, look in front, look at the back. You can turn around inside. You are sitting on a chair, a revolving chair. You can move around. You can push the chair forward, you can push the chair back within the head. Try to center yourself. Try to be as close to the center as possible. The face is in front of you. The ears are on either side of you. How many of you could do this? You are ready for meditation there. All ready for deeper meditation. If you could do this, you've done quite a bit. That's a good start. How many of you could, while you were sitting there, see any changing colors or lights, sparkles inside? That's good. How many of you could hear sounds internally which are not coming from outside? Very good. You are getting familiar with the area that we are going to be working in. That's the whole area from where we will open all the doors. The 10th door is the first door to open. Why we call it 10th door? Because Dasma Dwar or 10th door, we call it because these 9 apertures on the body outside, the 2 eyes, the 2 nostrils, the mouth, the 2 ears, and the 2 lower apertures, these 9 doors connect us with the outside world and have been used by us for a long time to scatter our attention outside. These are responsible for the attachments we have created outside. The 10th door, which is opening inside into the inner worlds, is right behind the eyes where you were trying to practice this. So opening the 10th door will open up many other experiences for you. Now, how many of you could not stop thinking of other things when I was saying don't think of anything else? Almost everybody. That's one of the problems which we have to tackle. We have to solve this problem. How many of you were seeing things, seeing people who you know outside, and you were seeing them when we were trying to concentrate inside? So many. So these are distractions. How many of you could hear outside sounds if a bus passed or something while you were doing meditation? We have common problems. These are the 3 problems we have to solve in meditation to be successful. First, the mind keeps on thinking of other things outside. We have to train it not to think of something outside. And that is why the word mantra was invented, that we could repeat words and force the mind to keep on repeating those words to prevent it from thinking of other things in words. We concocted a system called dhyan, contemplation of the face of your beloved, the face of your master, so that we could prevent other faces from coming in. It is a device. These were devices. We decided to hear sounds from within so that we could put our attention on the inner sound so that outside sounds do not disturb us. These are the 3 things that we have to now take care of. If we can take care of these 3 things, by appropriate repetition of words, by appropriate contemplation of the face of a beloved, and by putting your attention on any sound that we hear and ultimately hear the inner sounds which come from consciousness itself. If you can do these 3 things, you can be on the royal road to discovery of the self. You can go right on this road to your true home beyond the mind. It's such a possibility within ourselves. So we have to practice this in the next few days. We will be doing all these things so that we are able to achieve some results from 3 days. We don't have the time to sit for long enough. I had to interrupt you because of the time frame of this workshop. Otherwise, you should be able to sit long enough to concentrate your attention behind the eyes sufficiently to forget that there is a world outside, to forget that this body is functioning as yourself and not as a house for you. When you are able to do that, the progress is very rapid. Till then, this distraction is what holds us up. This distraction is what is slowing us down. And to tackle these distractions, we employ these methods, a repetition of words, imaging, visualizing the beloved, and listening to inner sounds. These are methods, techniques we use to hold our attention within. The secret is to hold attention on your own self, inside, behind the eyes, to a point where nothing else outside is remembered by us at that time, nothing else distracts us from outside. You make quick headway inside. So we will use all these methods. Now, how many of you already have a mantra or simran or words to repeat given by a master? Oh, so many of you already have it. So let's use those words. How many of you have no words? No master's ever given you any words, and you would still like to practice this today. How many of you are there? You coined your own short phrase today. Make a temporary mantra of yourself. The mantra should be not connected with anything outside, connected with your love for your beloved, whoever your beloved is, because love emanates from the soul, as I mentioned in the morning, and therefore a short expression of love for somebody that is your beloved, whom you love, and you keep on repeating that, will be useful as a temporary mantra. So you just coin a short phrase and keep on repeating that when we do the next exercise. I think you're all ready for and trying out the mantra and sitting inside. Mantra should be repeated slowly, deliberately, and listened to while we are repeating. Mark my words, listen to. Repeating without listening has no value. If you repeat the mantra and think of something else, you're listening to your thoughts. Then what is the mantra going to do? If you keep on moving your tongue, people do this kind of meditation. They have beads in their hand. They move the bead, their mouth is speaking something, and they are thinking of the whole world. That is where Kabir or Saint Kabir said, Mala to kar mein phire, jeeb phire, mukh mahi, manwa to chaho desh phire, ye to simran nahi. He says, the beads are in your hand, you're moving them with your hands. The tongue is repeating the words, your mind is thinking of something else. Don't even consider this as simran or mantra at all. It's waste of time. It doesn't work. Therefore, Kabir says, if you want to do real repetition of mantra, it should be done with your mind, with your thinking mind. You are replacing the thoughts. That normal thoughts are being replaced by these words. And the only way you can know that you're replacing those words is by listening to it, that your mind is actually repeating. I'm emphasizing this point because people parrot-like keep on repeating and think that they are doing meditation. The mind is running around in the whole world. How can that be meditation? That is why when you repeat words with your mind and listen to them with your soul, you are doing mantra. Remember, the only speaker in us is our mind. Soul never speaks. The mind speaks. When we want to speak, we use the mind. When we want to speak outside, we use the mind. When we want to speak inside, we use the mind. Mind is used for speaking. Who listens? The soul. The soul is our listening ability. Our visual ability and listening ability is the soul, not the speaking ability. We use a machine for that, called the mind. So we repeat the words with the mind and listen with our soul. The more intently you listen to what you are repeating, the greater is the effectiveness of Simran or repetition of words. So this is very important. If you rapidly repeat, some people repeat so quickly, they have to count how many times they did it. How does the counting of time matter? We are trying to put our attention inside. The purpose of repetition is to replace these words, the thoughts with these words. The whole object is not to think of other things. And that's why we repeat these words. So repeat slowly, deliberately, and listen to those words as you repeat them attentively, with as much attention as you can give. And don't lose your position in the center of the head while you're doing it. Repeat in the center of the head, at the third eye center. And listen carefully, they'll be effective. Let's try. Close your eyes. Go back to your meditation chamber. Your meditation chamber henceforth will be your own head. Sit comfortably on your chair. No need to be very uptight about it. Just relax inside. Relax behind the eyes and repeat the words with your mind. Listen to them attentively. Slowly, every syllable should be listened to. Then only you are doing proper Simran. Don't listen to anything else except the words you are repeating. No other thought, no commentary on it. How many of you could do this? Very good. That's a very good result. How many of you felt that you could think while you are repeating also? Oh, that's also equally common. Now it does happen that when we are repeating the words, even putting all our attention listening to it, some other small voice keeps on talking. Are you doing it slowly? Are you doing fast? What is that voice? That's also our mind. The mind has the capacity to create many voices. If that happens, which will happen, then what do? Don't stop repeating. Make the little voice also join in the repetition. From that point onwards when you notice it. So then there will be two voices in your head doing the repetition. If there are three will repeat. If there are 100 will repeat. Big orchestra going on of repetitions inside. You might see some other figure step in. Your friend, somebody, certainly the face will appear to distract you. You are trying to focus on repeating words and the person starts talking to you. You think you are not talking because some person is talking. Then you don't stop. Let that person join in the repetition also. Then you see 10 people inside, all 10 are doing similar along with you. And then it works. The whole point is to draw the attention of the mind completely to listening to the word, no matter what diversion it uses. So when we do this kind of meditation, the attention is gathered very fast and we are able to actually vacate our body from the awareness that we are aware of a body, and we really make this our world, and the 10th door opens to other experiences. We'll continue these meditation exercises tomorrow and deal exactly with the kind of problem that come. Now, it's not that some people have problems, we all have. I've had the same problems too. That's why I can share these difficulties with you. I'm not saying anything from the books. I don't know if the books say these things or not. I'm only saying from experience. I am not much into reading of books. In fact, I didn't read any books till I came to this country. And here I had to read the books because people asked me, what about this page on that book? Then I had to read the page. And they said, this book doesn't say that. So I had to open the book to show them where it says that, things like that. For example, my own master, great master, Baba Sawan Siji, he said, unless you are able to first establish yourself and feel that you are sitting inside the head, inside behind the eyes, unless you first have that experience, don't even start meditation. It will be a waste. So when I mentioned this, people said, where does he say this? We have got a book called Spiritual Gems, in which there are letters that he has written to people in the United States. And that book is a standard book of his knowledge transmitted to the West. And all those letters are meant for the American disciples. Why wouldn't he say in those letters? I said, unfortunately, I've never read that book. But if you have a copy, give it to me. So they brought a copy. And overnight I read it and marked 16 places where he says the same thing in those letters. How come we read a book and don't see what it says? We only read what our mind is accepting at that time. The same book means something different when we read afterwards. When we do meditation, practice meditation, not talk about it, the book makes sense all the time. Every page of it starts making sense. We know exactly what they are talking about. So that is why these are practical tips. It took me a few years before I ever got this tip from my master. So what I am trying to do now is to share this with you, that if you have been meditating for a long time without adequate results, there may be these little difficulties that you have come across and not solved them. And they are all soluble. They can all be solved. So you will be able to do it during this meditation workshop. That's the whole purpose of a meditation workshop. So I am very happy that so many of you are making a good advance in understanding what true meditation is, to withdraw your attention from the world, from the body, from this physical universe, and open up the 10th door, which is inside yourself. And all the knowledge, all the spiritual knowledge, all knowledge of God and creation is inside you. And you can access it through the 10th door, which you can open inside through meditation. So we'll continue this meditation exercise. Tomorrow, I am going to set apart some time now for people who have asked for individual interviews, and others can go and practice in their own time. What we were trying to do today, please practice overnight, practice sitting there, practice using the repetition of words in the manner we have just tried, and practice total total repetition. Not single repetition with one voice, total repetition with all voices, all faces, all doing the same repetition at the same time. So no other thought can creep in. It takes a little time to adjust to this. But if you're able to do it, then you'll be successful on the spiritual path. Thank you very much for joining me today. And I'll be seeing you tomorrow, 11 o'clock here again.